Hey guys, Redneck Mini 14 here. In the last couple weeks, I got a couple requests to do some gun collection videos. I had one request to do an overall gun collection video, and I'm going to hold off on that until I get a couple other guns off of layaway. But I had another request to do just a collection, shotgun collection video, and just to kind of go over them, all the shotguns that I own, and just kind of explain which one I like best, and all that. So I think I'll do that one first, and basically I'm just going to go through all the shotguns that I own and do a little overview of them and tell you which one I like the best. So I figure we'll start off with my Mavericks. So I have three Mossberg Maverick 88s. They're basically Mossberg 500s with a couple differences. This bottom one here is the first one I bought, and it's a 12 gauge. It's got a 20-inch barrel. I put a fiber optic front sight on it, and I fixed some sling swivel, sling swivels on it. So got those on it, and haven't found a sling that I like yet. I'll probably end up just making one out of some webbing material. And this is my home defense gun. This is the one I keep loaded. It's actually loaded right now. Loaded in the tube, not in the chamber, so whenever I need it I could just rack one in and be ready to go. Above that I have another 12 gauge. This is actually my newest shotgun. This is a 12 gauge with a 18.5-inch barrel and a 5-shot tube. Now this one here actually came with a second barrel. It came with a 28-inch barrel, so it was a 2-in-1 combo. And so that's good shotgun. It's a good, could be a good backup home defense gun, good truck gun, good hunting gun for like doves and other birds like that. So that's a good Mossberg Maverick 88 shotgun right there. And I basically just bought that one to show my support for Mossberg when they pulled their contract with Dick's Sporting Goods. Above that we have my 20 gauge Maverick 88, and I basically bought this one because I had some I was given some 20 gauge shells, and I needed a 20 gauge shotgun to shoot them through. So this is a 26-inch barrel, double bead, just a basic like hunting configuration. I've only shot it took it out and shot it once, so hasn't been out and shot much, but I do plan on shooting it and probably even using it for some hunting. I don't know that I would make it my main hunting gun, but probably a secondary or a third hunting gun. If I take some buddies out, or if I take like my niece out in the future or my nephew out in the future, they could use a 20 gauge instead of a 12 gauge because it kicks less. So those are my Maverick 88s. Let's move on to the Mossberg 500s. And as you can see, I have two Mossberg 500s. We'll start with this one here. This, I will say right off the bat, is actually my favorite shotgun out of all the shotguns that I own. This is my first Mossberg 500. It started out life as a 28-inch barrel with the basic wood stock and forend, and I threw on a 18.5-inch barrel and got this laminate wood stock and forend with the corncob forend, and so it's got that real nice wood, and it's got that nice gold trigger, and it's just a really, really sweet gun overall. Definitely, out of the guns that I currently own, my favorite shotgun. And I still have the 18.5-inch barrel, so I technically have two combo shotguns. One is a 500, the other one's a Maverick 88, but I do have two 12 gauge combos. This one up here is one that I found at a gun shop for $145. Thought it was a great deal, so I bought it. It is, just a basic Mossberg 500 with an 18.5-inch barrel and a 5-shot tube, just like that one. It's got the polymer or the synthetic stock and forend, and it's really beat up, as you can see. Has this side plate here for a side saddle, but no side saddle, and you know, it's just a really beat up shotgun. That's why it was so inexpensive. And it, you know, also has some paint here, some paint on the tube, because I guess somebody did a homemade camo job on it at one point in time. But you know, for the money, I thought it was a great deal. Thought it would be a good, inexpensive truck gun, and that's really what I bought it for. So like anytime I go to the farm or something, you know, I'll go out hunting, I could throw this in the truck and it'd be a good truck gun, you know, just kind of a good range truck gun, or you know, ranch truck gun, you know, stuff like that. Could be good for doing snakes and other critters like that. So those are my two Mossberg 500s. Some of my favorite shotguns. Like I said, this is definitely my favorite shotgun. So let's move on now to my other Mossberg shotguns. And as I'm sure you figured out by now that I love Mossberg shotguns. I have more Mossbergs than any other shotgun in my collection. These are my last Mossbergs, I promise, but can't promise they'll be my only Mossbergs in the future. So we'll start off here with the last pump action. This is a Mossberg 835 Ulti-Mag, and it's got a 28-inch barrel ported, and it has that fiber optic sight up there. It also has a double bead. Has a you know, the 835 has like an overboard barrel, so like you can't shoot slugs through this safely. But I bought it for turkey hunting, and it can also be used for waterfowl and stuff like that. It's chambered in 3.5-inch Magnum shells, so that's why I bought it, and it was a good price. I just love that camouflage pattern. You know, that caught my eye every time I went to the gun shop for the last, like, you know, 6 months before I ended up buying it, because, you know, it was a good deal. It was like $285 or something, you know, something real cheap. So I ended up buying it. Haven't shot it yet because kind of scared to shoot a 3.5-inch shell, but one of these days I'll take my shells out there with this shotgun and I'll pattern it. So anyway, that's my turkey hunting gun for whenever I decide to hunt turkeys. And then at the bottom here we have my only semi-automatic shotgun in my collection. This is my Mossberg 930, and it's a semi-automatic tactical shotgun. I got it for $300 from a buddy of mine who wanted to put running boards on his truck. So he needed to get some extra cash, so he sold me his shotgun. And I really love these 930 shotguns. They're, you know, have the same basic ergonomics as a Mossberg 500. They have the safety up here, and you know, that's cool. It's got the door buster, what I like to call it, the, you know, the breaching barrel. And yeah, so it's a 4-shot capacity, or 4+1 capacity. Now the reason I like the 930 over a lot of other semi-automatic shotguns is because when you have the tube loaded and there's nothing in the chamber, you can actually cycle with your hand, you know, just by pulling back the action, and it'll go in the chamber, whereas a lot of other semi-automatic shotguns rely on the gases escaping from the round fire to actually push the other round into the chamber. So you have to like hit a button down here and, you know, do this, and you know, it's a real pain. I had to do that on some shotguns when I was dove hunting, and that was a real pain to, you know, unload the gun. So I really like this Mossberg 930. So let's move on to some other shotguns that I own. So this is my Remington 870. I figured I'd talk about this one by itself because it's the only one in this kind of category that I own at the moment. So this is, you know, basically a non-Mossberg, like special old shotgun. So this I actually bought as a pistol grip only shotgun. It has a either 18 or 18.5-inch barrel with a 6-shot tube and it has this clamp on the front here with a sling swivel stud. And you know, has a nice corncob style forend. And I took off the pistol grip because after one trip to the range I decided that pistol grips suck, and I got this Shockwave grip, kind of like on the Mossberg Shockwave and the Remington TAC 14. And this is a much better way to shoot a pistol grip shotgun. So I really like this setup. Now there is a TAC 14 out there with wood that I really like, and I think I'm going to get that, so you know, one of these days. And so I'm probably going to end up putting an actual stock on this shotgun, but for now it's got the Raptor, you know, the Shockwave Raptor grip, I think this is what it's called. And you know, it's a nice short package, but it's not as short as a TAC 14 or a Mossberg Shockwave, so I might get one, if not both of those in the future, and turn this into a full-size stocked shotgun. So that's my only Remington 870. Okay, now we're up to my shotguns that are old classic shotguns, but not quite family heirlooms. I only have two of them, and I have this Ithaca 37, and this is probably my favorite out of the two, just because I really like the Ithaca 37, but it's an Ithaca 37 Featherlight. And it's got that those cool engravings. I don't know if you're going to see it very good with this light, but it's got those nice engravings. Bottom eject, like all Ithaca 37s. Cool corncob forend, and I think a 28-inch barrel. And this, out of all the shotguns that I own, it has the smoothest pump. And it's also the smoothest to load. Like when you load it, you push it in there and you're like, wow, did that actually seat in there? But it, you know, it's so smooth that it's kind of hard to even know if it's actually seated in there. But it does, it seats in there just fine. And we have my Winchester 1897. This is a 16 gauge, and it's the external hammer model that Winchester came out with back in the day. It's a John Browning design, so it's an excellent shotgun. This one was cut down to 21 inches and rebeaded, and it also has this goofy recoil pad on the back, but I thought I found a pretty good deal when I found this one. I think it was like $390 plus tax for this gun, and I've only took it out and shot it once. No, I think I took it out 2 times, and you know, it's a good shotgun. I do need to do a little work on it. I need to figure out how the tube comes apart, because you know, I take all the screws out, but for whatever reason it still like stays together, and I've been meaning to do that for years and years, but I you know, keep pushing that back, and I really need to do that, just like I really need to work on this and replace the stock on this because the stock is cracked. But anyway, those are my 2 old classic non-family heirloom shotguns, a good Ithaca 37 and a Winchester 1897. So let's move on to my family heirlooms. Now these 2 are kind of interesting because they're the successor to one of the guns, you know, the Winchester, and the predecessor to the Ithaca that I just showed you. So we'll start here at the top. This is a Winchester Model 12. This is the first gun that I ever owned. This is also a 16 gauge, and this, you know, like I said, was the first gun I ever owned. It belonged to my great-grandfather way back in the day, and he used it for hunting birds, and then he gave it to my grandfather, who gave it to my uncle, who gave it to me for Christmas when I was 16, and that is the first gun I ever owned. I haven't shot it in a long time, but I really need to shoot it again because, you know, I really need to go through my collection and shoot all the guns that I haven't shot in a while. But this is the first gun I ever owned. It has nice wood, and it actually has some more family history to it that I probably should, you know, tell you in another video. but it's just a great old classic shotgun, and I'm the 4th generation to own that shotgun. Now this one, I'm not sure of the entire history of this shotgun. It probably belonged to my other great-grandfather at one point in time, but it was in my grandfather's closet, and I know it belonged to him for a long time. This is a Remington Model 10. Like I said, it's basically the predecessor to the Ithaca 37. And it's a good old shotgun. Now this, my Ithaca was the smoothest shotgun that I own. This is the roughest shotgun that I own because it takes a lot of force to work that action, and I'm like really afraid I'm going to break the already cracked forend, so I grab it by the metal and push it back, and then push from the very back of the shotgun, or of the pump. So that is the roughest shotgun that I own. I think all the internals are just fine. I probably need to go through and properly lube it now, and I need to replace the stock and probably the forend as well. I just haven't had time to do that, but I've removed most of the rust that was on it, and I tested it out, and it shoots just fine because my grandfather said that at one point in time this had an issue where it would slam fire, not while the trigger was being pulled, without the trigger being pulled, because a whole bunch of people say that, oh, it's supposed to slam fire. No, it is not. Not like that, anyway. I haven't actually tried it to slam fire with the trigger pulled, so I don't even know if it actually is supposed to slam fire with the trigger pulled, because it's not a standard hammer fire design, so it might not work, and I don't know that I'm ever going to try that. But that is my Remington Model 10. It is a very rough shotgun. It's a very old shotgun. Might even be the oldest of all the shotguns that I own. Definitely probably the oldest. Well, it's definitely the oldest pump action. I don't know if it's the oldest overall. But that's my Remington Model 10 and my Winchester Model 12, both family heirloom shotguns, as are these next 3 that I'm going to show you. And rounding out my collection of shotguns, we have my 3 small bore shotguns. Now these 2 up here are 410s. This one is actually a 44 caliber, but according to my grandfather, it can shoot a 410, and that's what he shot through it. So I'll probably end up trying to shoot a couple small 410 shells through it whenever I get to that point. We'll get to that in a minute. From the top here, we have my Springfield Model 944. This is a 410 single shot shotgun. This belonged to my mom, which belonged to her grandfather. I'm not sure which grandfather. But this is another one of my great-grandfather's shotguns. So those other 2 shotguns were on my dad's side. That's actually on my mom's side. So I think I have guns from at least 3 different great-grandfathers in my collection, so that's cool. This is my first 410 that I ever owned, and it's been a while since I shot it. Probably should take it out and shoot it again. This one here is an Iver Johnson 410, an Iver Johnson Champion 410, and it is again a single-shot shotgun. This is one that I fixed up for my grandfather one year, and got all the rust off of it, kind of cleaned up the stock, put a butt pad on it, or a butt plate on it, and, fixed the ejection issue. And, I fixed that up for him for Christmas one year, and, a few years later he passed away, so I ended up with the shotgun again. And this is a good functioning shotgun. It's rough, but it works just like that one. But the bottom one here, I'm actually not sure. This might be it's an H&R for sure, but it could be a 1900 or it could be a 1905. I'm not really sure. I ordered a few parts for it, but they weren't the right parts for whatever reason. Like they were the right parts, but they weren't the right parts, which means they probably came out of a different model of shotgun, or they were meant for a 12 gauge or 20 gauge or something bigger than a 410 or a 44 caliber. But this gun is not really functional. It is, but it isn't. So the trigger spring needs to be replaced, and I think I have the right trigger spring for this, but I need an actual way to get to the trigger spring, because I think I need to punch out these pins, and these are really old pins, and I'm not sure how well they're going to come out, and I don't have the proper punches for them, so I don't want to mess that up. But you know, this was a really rusty shotgun. It is, again, a .44 caliber, and I think back in the day they had like these brass shells, like brass shotgun shells that you would put in here, but I don't think those are made anymore. I've never heard of them before I had this shotgun. But this, you know, this shotgun also had some tape or epoxy or something on the stock here holding it together, and you know, I took that off. I think I put some wood glue in here. It's been a while since I did this, and I put some wood glue in here and, you know, held it together and fixed that issue. Got all the rust off of it, and so, you know, it's in pretty decent shape now compared to what it was, and you know, so it doesn't have any rust on it, or, you know, most of the rust is off of it. You can cock the hammer back, I think. Oh, no, you have to have the, you have to push the trigger forward to cock the hammer back. So you could technically shoot this, but it's, you know, not like fully functional. The hammer or the trigger spring needs to be replaced, and I don't have the proper tools to do that at the moment. So one of these days I'll get the proper tools to do that and try to change out that trigger spring and see if I can actually get it to fire. And I'll probably end up shooting like a couple of birdshot 410 loads out of it. But I don't plan on shooting this a whole lot, maybe just like, you know, a box of shells throughout my lifetime, because it's really not a gun that you should take out and shoot at this point in its life. But these two up here, you know, they have quite a bit of shooting left in them, and I'll probably shoot them a little more over the years. Probably take out some snakes and, you know, maybe take them rabbit hunting, teach my niece and nephew, maybe my kids in the future, how to hunt with these two shotguns, because those are still decent shotguns. But those are all of the shotguns that I own. I believe I have 15, most of which are pump action shotguns, but again, I have these three single shot 410s, and I also have one semi-automatic. So I forget who the YouTuber was that requested this video, but there it is. There's my shotgun collection as it stands right now. Most definitely we'll get more shotguns in the future. I mean, let's be real, I like to buy guns. But as it stands right now, those are the 15 shotguns that I currently own. So, subscribe to my channel, like me on Facebook. I'm Redneck Mini 14, and until next time, be safe.